Hello, dear Pisces. I am Jamie Dawn, your evolutionary revolutionary astrologer, bringing you your March 2021 horoscope. And happy birthday. This is your month. And the sun, of course, is already in your sign. But let's talk about some of the other planets and what's going on there for you. We also have Mercury is direct. It is in your 12th house. And we have Mars moving into Gemini on the 3rd into the 4th. And that's actually going to be in your 4th house. And then also we have a new moon in your sign, and that's on the 12th in your 1st house, as well as Mercury moving out of your 12th into your 1st on the 15th, and the sun in Aries, Venus in Aries on the 20th, the spring equinox, followed by, last but not least, the full moon in Libra on the 28th, and that's going to be in your 8th house. So we've got lots of activities for you. And let's just start with Mercury. Now it's direct, which is great, in through your 12th house, most likely your dreams, your spiritual insights, your opportunities to maybe rescue yourself that was happening in February can now be offered as gifts of service to others, something you do really well. And you'll also find that you may have difficulties separating your own higher wisdom and your own mind and ideas from the realities. So you may find the little bit of push and pull in the next few weeks around what's real, what's not real. Let's create a new matrix. And that's a great way to use this Aquarian energy to insert into your everyday life. So use this very fertile and creative time on a spiritual level to bring it into physical form. And you will have some support around this with Mars moving into Gemini early in the month, because it'll be in your 4th house, which also stirs up a little bit of this psychological internal dialogue around where do you really belong? Where do you feel like is home for you? And that the mind will be driven to get answers to some questions like that, as well as maybe to say, hey, is my home and my family life exactly where I want it to be? And if not, who do I need to connect with? Who do I need to make sure offers me some options that I can find the right place? You may find that March has you, dear Pisces, going through a lot of options, and you may have a lot of conversations, especially if you are buying or selling a home, around realtors, banks, mortgages, things like that. You also may, if you're settled and you're not wanting to move at all, it may be more about how can you beautify the home? How can you make it in a way that maybe there's some education around it? I can see some of you Pisces even deciding to take a licensing or certification when it comes to real estate and anything to do around that home life. And some of you may also be investigating some of the historical natures, maybe in your own world, as far as like your family ancestral, but it could also be the research around, let's say you're in the metaphysical realm, you may want to study the lineage, as far as like, if you're into Reiki, where did that lineage start and who are you taking it from, and educate yourself on that. You may also decide that you want to study a metaphysical avenue so that you can work from home. There's a lot of really good emphasis on home-based business here for you if you want to launch that in the month of March, especially as we have the new moon in Pisces. And that's going to be seeding your 1st house, which is all about, how do you want to be perceived by others? How do you want them to look at you? It's this beautification of your own personhood, the mask that you wear, whether it's changing your hair color or losing weight or gaining weight, or the clothes that you wear. In other words, what is it that you're ultimately wanting people to first impression of you? And so you're going to maybe educate yourself on some of that. I can see some of you Pisces going to beauty school or going to acting class, things like that. The other thing that I would say is that with Mercury also moving into your sign on March 15th, you'll find your words and ideas have a lot more power when it comes to communicating how you are wanting others to take on whatever you're presenting. And a lot of that is going to be energized, especially with the full moon in Libra, which I'll talk about in a little bit, but it's going to be in your 8th house. So more emphasis on communicating with others and this other and the value that you offer, but you have to get yourself in a place where you feel kind and compassionate toward yourself, and that you can also find that with Mercury and this new moon in Pisces, there may be an emphasis on self-care and how you engage with your thought processes on what do you believe about yourself. Maybe there's some added faith and hope that that life really does love you, and that you were given this opportunity to be alive, to let life move through you, and that you do it in your own beautiful dance, your own unique way, and yet with great compassion and with great love that can be of service to others without getting taken advantage of, which is something that you're going to have to pay attention to, because, like I say, we've got the Sun moving into Aries and Venus also moving into Aries on the 20th, and this will be in your 2nd house. And I sense that some of you, especially if you're working from home, which a lot of people are still, but if you're launching a home-based business or you're wanting to offer your services, your gifts and talents to others, you have to be careful you're not rescuing people, because I can tell you that there's going to be a lot of activity here. People see your beauty, they see your generosity, and they're going to latch onto it. And they, with that Aries energy, you're going to be attracting a lot of people who sort of throw caution to the wind, don't really think about, how this could impact you. They may be a little bit more self-absorbed, and you may generously give them everything because you want to launch this business, or you want to build your client base, or you want to expand your world. And you certainly want to do it because you love them, but also 2nd house is about income and you're making money. And so you may have a hard time saying no. This Aries energy often symbolizes the yes. It's driven. It says it's pretty much yes to everything. Rarely does it want to say no, because it's springing forth with life, and life says yes. And so with this kind of energy, you're just going to have to be careful, because, of course, Pisces, boundaries are not fun for you. So, but I will say that you have a lot of cosmic support here, especially with Venus in Aries, because she is going to make a move and energize where you get to say, you know what, I have more independence and free thinking, and I have this ability to be able to say yes to the things that matter to me, which means I'm saying no to something that doesn't. Hopefully that makes sense, what I'm saying there. Let's talk real quick about relationships, because we're going to move into the focus of relationships, especially in the full moon in Libra, towards the 2nd half of the month. So the 1st half is probably going to have you focused more on home and sort of the tangible things that you need to focus on instead, and maybe business stuff, not so much of the romantic nature, until I sense that 2nd half of that new moon in Pisces, and then moving into the full moon, your relationship sector will be a little more highlighted. It's not necessarily going to be your main focus this month, but single Pisces, I sense that you will enjoy building up more of your sense of self, who you really are. And if you are just started a relationship, this gives you a time to heal it, to work with the compassionate nature of the relationship, to really see that this relationship came into your life for greater depth and healing. And I would imagine that if you do meet somebody new and you're really focused on that the healing will come through connection of the mind first, and then the physical connection will follow. The other thing I would say is that coupled Pisces, you will find that this can be a time where you and your partner are able to talk about things and take on projects and deal with family life in a way that is maybe very healing. Some of you may be dealing with difficulties in the home, whether it's with each other or with children or elderly parents. You know, the dynamics are varied, obviously. And this could be a month where you find that you need to start a new healing process. Maybe it's couples counseling. Maybe it is getting therapy for your child or children. You know, maybe it's getting in front of a guidance counselor so that you can help your child plan for their future. Those are all some scenarios that could show up for you. And this, as long as you and your partner are on the same page, that can also be a very healing and kind experience. The other thing I would say is that second half of the month, with that full moon in Libra in your 8th house, you may find that you're letting go of a contract or some sort of business deal, some sort of, not just business, but also monetary. Maybe that you're paying your taxes and then receiving funds elsewhere. It could be that with your partner's income. Some of you may also be looking at starting a job. And so you, on this full moon, you're going to be letting go of the other job, or your partner will. This has a lot of partner emphasis to it. I would also say that there is a small indication here that a couple of you Pisces will end up with some sort of inheritance during this time. So if you've been working on trying to settle in an estate, or you're waiting to hear that this inheritance could finally come to you around this full moon time at the end of the month, great timing, so that you can then decide how you want to continue to offer this as a benefit to others. So I hope that this information helps a little bit, Pisces, and certainly keep me posted. Like, comment, share, subscribe to these videos, and I look forward to talking with you. Find me at jamiedawn.com. Take care.